What tier list do we even have today? Oh man, this is gonna be weird. Look, I'm a tiny little spider. I need to become a ghost for this. Hello there, it's me, the ghost of Christmas past.
Your past.
I need to make myself bigger. Oops, that's not how I do that. Well, I mean, I am bigger now. Ah, here we go. Meowie voice clip tier list win? No. Oh, I have a voice clip for you guys.
I'm fine with killing people.
I'm fine with killing people.
Okay, so, hello there everybody. We're gonna go over a tier list today, going over the best or worst alternative win conditions in Yu-Gi-Oh! We have all of them here. Amazing. An alternative win condition is a way to win a game through a card effect, rather than through the game rules. Normally you win the game either through getting your opponent's life points to 0, through deck out, or... is there another way to do it? Anyways, let's go through this. First up we have Destiny Board. So Destiny Board has the effect where during the end phase... wait, which end phase? When this card is activated once per turn during your opponent's end phase. It's only your opponent's end phase? Anyways, you spell out final. I don't know why it says death over here. D for death in the OCG, or final for final. The reason this card sucks. So it only takes 3 turns, I believe, because the first turn you get 2 of them, next turn you get the 3rd one, and then the 3rd turn you get the 4th one. No, it takes 4 turns. Yeah, you spell out death or final. However, if any of the cards are destroyed, then they all get destroyed and you have to start over. So it's an incredibly fragile win condition since there's no way to protect the cards. And also you can't really play other spell traps, which makes it harder to protect the cards. They do have modern support, which makes it easier, where the modern support cards allow you to special summon the other cards as monsters to the field, which can't be attacked or affected by card effects, so that you don't have to ham bone yourself with all of your spell and trap card zones taken up. And they also have cards that let you place the spirit messages out earlier too, so you can get it out like a turn or 2 earlier, which make the final destination, the Destiny Board win condition, all that much better. So we'll put this one in terms of all of these alternative win conditions, I don't know, a D, because they're all pretty bad. I'll be surprised if any of them get higher than D. D for death. Okay, what do we have next? Exodia. Everybody knows how Exodia works. Exodia is even in other card games. I remember Hearthstone, if they had a combo that let you win in like 1 turn, they called it an Exodia combo. If you get all 5 pieces of Exodia in your hand, you immediately win the duel. And this has actually won a Worlds event before. As far as alternative win conditions go, Exodia is A. Oh my god, you're right. Let's put this in B tier. B for bad. Because it's a solitaire deck. Basically, all you're trying to do is just draw every card in your deck in 1 turn. You can do it, but it's so fragile to hand traps. If they ever make this deck too strong, then the game is in trouble. One of the problems with win conditions is they have to be made bad on purpose. Otherwise, if it's a little bit too good, then it's too easy to build your entire deck around its strategy and just get too many free games, you know? Probability calculator literally shows 0% to open all 5 pieces in 1 turn. Yeah, it's literally 0% chance. I think Exodia also kind of limits generic search and draw power to an extent. Anyways, next up we have Exodia, the Legendary Defender. Cannot be special summoned. You can tribute 5 monsters to tribute summon, but not set this card. Wow, tribute 5 monsters. This card's attack and defense become the combined original attack and defense of the tributed monsters. If this card, summoned this way, destroys a Dark Fiend monster owned by your opponent, you win the duel at the end of the damage step. A Dark Fiend monster, huh? Is this an anti-labyrinth support card? That's pretty easy. So you have to tribute 5 monsters, and then you have to specifically attack a Dark Fiend monster. And honestly, with the new Dark World support, that's not that hard to do, because they summon Dark Fiend monsters to your opponent's field. You should make a deck based around this. I kind of want to now. It's so bad. It is. We'll put it in D tier. Are any of the kaijus Dark Fiends? Raiden? Yeah. I think Raiden might be a fiend. Next up, we have Exodius, the Ultimate Forbidden Lord. So you can special summon this card from your hand by returning all monsters in your graveyard back into your deck. Then it gains 1,000 attack for each normal monster in your graveyard, and every time it declares an attack, you can send one monster from your deck to the graveyard. And if you send all 5 pieces of Exodia to the graveyard with its effect, you win the duel. Bystials destroy this, right? Of course they do. Is the Exodia lore at least interesting? No. It's a turn 10 FTK. I mean, if you can give this multiple attacks, you can activate it much easier. Honestly, this card has seen some competitive play, but not for its win condition. Because it's a very easy to bring out level 10 monster from your hand. It's not a very good win condition though. We'll put it in D tier like all the other garbage. Next up, we have FA Winners. It's a continuous spell card which has the effect where if you control an FA monster, this card cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. When your FA monster whose level is at least 5 or higher than its original level battles an opponent's monster and inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can banish 1 card from your hand, field, or graveyard. You can use this effect once per turn. If 3 of your FA field spells with different names are currently banished and were all banished by the effect of FA Winners, you win the duel. Damn. So, FAs are an archetype which like to destroy their own field spells in order to search out cards. So, they do have more than 3 of them. So getting 3 different named ones in the graveyard is honestly not that hard. The hard condition here is you have to attack with an FA monster whose level is 5 higher than its original. So the FAs all have an effect where they increase their level by 1 every time you activate the effect of an FA spell trap. So you would have to activate 5 spell traps. Is it spell traps or is it just any FA monster effect? I'm pretty sure it's only spell traps, right? Can someone in chat confirm? I don't remember. Because if it is monster effects as well, it's a little bit easier. Spell traps and field spells increase by 2. Oh, is it 2? I thought it was 1. Okay, never mind. That's not that hard. So you have to activate at least 3 spell traps in order to increase the level of an FA monster for it to have the opportunity to activate the effect of Winners in order to banish a field spell from your graveyard. And then if you banish 3 named ones, you can win. You can technically resolve this during your first battle phase. If you manage to get all 3 of your field spells in your hand, field, or graveyard, and you activate 3 cards, and you attack with 3 of your monsters, and you inflict damage 3 times. That's not half bad for a win condition. We'll put this one in C tier, just because it's a little bit more feasible, because FAs are a lot better than the other garbage we've shown so far. A hard once per turn? Oh, it's a hard once per turn? Never mind. I'm in super smart ghost who makes no mistakes. There's a better FA win condition. You just combo off with 1,000 negates on the board and synchro negates. No. Next up, we have Final Countdown. This card has the effect where you pay 2,000 life points. Then, 20 turns after you activate this effect have passed, you win the duel. This card is a menace. Let's put this one in S tier. I think this might be the only S tier. It's the best alternative win condition ever. All you have to do is just stall for 20 turns and you win. Yeah, it's a degenerate deck all around. You activate Final Countdown, then you just wait 20 turns and win. I think the only downside is that if you can stall long enough for 20 turns, you can probably stall long enough to just make your opponent deck out instead. So you don't even need to play Final Countdown. You can just wait for your opponent to run out of cards in their deck. Pyro Clock of Destiny, you wouldn't play Pyro Clock with Destiny. That's just dead wrong. It is better to just play another Floodgate than it is to play Pyro Clock of Destiny. Nice, just pay 2k to win? Yeah, exactly. Final Countdown FTK is hilarious. Final Countdown FTK was made so much harder after they errated both Makir the Destructor and Temple of the King. Runic Final Countdown? I mean, I guess that works. I think Final Countdown might be, I think it's limited to Master Duel. Just play a bunch of Thunder Ruler, Threatening Roar, and Wabakus. That's how they used to play back in the day. That wouldn't work in modern Yu-Gi-Oh though. You would have to play a bunch of Floodgates instead. Because if you just played like cards that skip your opponent's battle phase, then they could just put a bunch of negates and then just negate your next Threatening Roar, you know? You have to stop them from playing monsters. That's how you win. So you just play a bunch of Floodgates and make sure they can't play the game, and then you just wait for 20 turns. Play like a single Scrap Iron Scarecrow to block those tiny little attacks from going through. Just have another Threatening Roar. Then what are you gonna do on your next turn? You use 2 cards to get past 1 negate. Okay, next up, we have Flying Elephant. Once per turn, if this card would be destroyed by card effect, it is not destroyed. Once per turn, during the end phase, if this effect was applied this turn, apply the following effect. During your next turn, if this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent by a direct attack, you win the duel. So basically, what you have to do with this card is make it so that your opponent tries to destroy this card, and then on your turn, you have to attack directly with it, and then you win. Which is not that hard. It's just like the board state you'd have, like the amount of control you'd have to have over the game in order to activate it would be the same amount of control necessary to just win anyway. S tier since it works well in Duel Links. I don't know if it works well in Duel Links. This card is not very good, unfortunately. I have to break it to you guys, it's not very good. Even though Melfi Caddy can search it out, even though you can proc it. Actually, how do you proc it? Your opponent has to be the one to destroy it. This card is so incredibly specific. This card was created as like a meme almost, to just show like how incredibly specific a card effect can be in the anime. Next up, we have Ghost Trick Angel of Mischief. Basically, once per turn, you can attach a Ghost Trick monster from your hand or field to this card as an XYZ material. You can also rank it up on top of any Ghost Trick XYZ monster, except itself. You can also detach material to search a card, which is useful for the Ghost Trick engine.
However,
it also has the effect where... Where's that effect at? When the number of XYZ materials on this card becomes 10, you win the duel. Good evening, your favorite streamer. Why, thank you, Touche30. The card itself is good, but not for its instant win condition. Getting 10 materials on this card is actually incredibly difficult, especially since its own way of doing it is once per turn, and you'd have to go through all kinds of combos. You can do it. Getting off the combo is possible. I think you can even do it in like, there's a way to do this in Lyrilisks. And you can do it in engine too. It's honestly not that hard to pull off. I think because Lyrilis can pull off this combo with not too much difficulty, it has to be like B tier. It's just Lyrilis is better if you don't do it. But Lyrilis can do it. The thing is, they can pull off the combo. And I think specifically because Lyrilis have an in-engine way of pulling it off, it's just a little bit more decent. One of the easier win cons and is a good card even without it, S tier. I wouldn't say it's one of the easier win cons. It's just like there's a deck that happens to be able to facilitate it. At best, I'll give it A tier. It's still not good. It's still not like Final Countdown good, you know? Next up, we have Halaktai, the Creator of Light, a card that is still not in the TCG. If you have the 3 God cards on your side of the field, you can special summon this card from your hand in order to instantly win the duel. Whoa. And its special summon cannot be negated, which means they can't use Solemn Judgment to prevent it. And getting the 3 God cards out is kind of difficult though. I think it's easier than all the garbage win conditions though. I'll put this in C tier. Halaktai is so cool. Halaktai is pretty decent. The amount of effort required to get the 3 God cards in the field is an order of magnitude more than developing a normal board. It used to be, but they keep releasing new God card support that makes it easier and easier to bring the cards out. I mean, like, just look at the Slifer support that special summons Slifer from the graveyard and then draws you 6 cards. There's also a card which special summons a God card from the graveyard, but only when it's destroyed. And then of course there's all of the like million pieces of raw support. Yeah, it's kind of easy to get them out now. That's why it's no longer in D tier. Okay, next up, we have Jackpot 7. If this card is sent to your graveyard by an opponent's card effect, you banish the card. Then if 3 of these cards are banished by this effect, you win the duel. So if you play this as an anti-tier strategy, you can actually pull off a win. Because if your opponent mills it through like their Ishizu cards, you can trigger the effect. If your opponent's trying to mill you out, you can win. You can also accomplish this yourself by giving your opponent the Dark Scorpions card and then attacking into with 3 tokens, because it allows you to mill any spell card of your choice from your deck. And if you just mill with this, you win, and boom, you win. Hi, do you remember me? Should I? I'm bad with names. In a very nice case, Jackpot 7 can shuffle itself back to stop you from decking out instantly. Oh yeah, you can shuffle it back. So you'll never deck out. Does it work with dangers? If your opponent uses the danger that causes you to send to the graveyard, I guess. Okay. So Jackpot 7 it's a gimmick. It's not very good, but it's easier to use than the other cards, I guess. I'm thinking either C or D tier. B tier since it's so funny. I'll put it in C tier just because it can kind of serve as an incredibly specific counter card. It's above D, I guess. Has it really been 3 whole years since Mr. Logs uploaded the top 10 alternative win conditions? Yeah, it has been a long time. I need to make more alternative win condition videos. Next card, we have Last Turn. So you can only activate this card during your opponent's turn if your life points are 1,000 or less, and you select one card you control. Then you send all of the cards on the field in both players' hands to the graveyard. Then your opponent special summons a monster from their hand. Then you enter a special battle phase where they do battle. Then you go to the end phase and do a confirmation, and whoever controls a monster on the board wins the game, and other results result in a draw. It has a whole bunch of ruling nightmares because of the way it like manipulates phases and creates an extra battle phase. This is one of the few cards in the game that creates an extra battle phase, and because of cards like Last Turn, every card which says that it can attack more than once has to mention the battle phases, plural, even though there's only 3 cards in the game that do it. Where's top 10 rulings issued caused by Last Turn video? I mean, I could show the Last Turn videos, but I don't want to. There's lots of fun rulings with this card because it does so many, it breaks the game so thoroughly. So like, if, for example, you're not allowed to enter the battle phase because of the effect of Frozen Soul, then you can't use this card, even though the battle phase is a different battle phase, but technically it prevents you from entering battle phases at all. So if you're under the effect of Frozen Soul, you can't use the effect of Last Turn. But if you have Jounjin the Spiritualist out and you can't special summon monsters, and your opponent can't possibly special summon a monster from their deck, it does allow you to activate it, even though you can't fully resolve the effect, because it doesn't check the state of the field. It checks other things, and not being able to enter a phase is something that it checks, and you won't be able to activate it. But if you can't special summon, it doesn't care about that because it doesn't check the monster effects on the field. And also, if there's an unaffected monster on the field, it counts as a monster being on the field, and it like, if you activate this card in the middle of the standby phase and you do all the effects, it goes back to the standby phase. So if there's a card effect that activates only during the standby phase, you get to do them again, as long as it doesn't have like a hard once per turn or just a once per turn, which there are cards that work that way, like Cosmo Forerunner, for example. And if a card can attack multiple times during the battle phase, it can also do it during this battle phase, even though the effect of the card is kind of moving the turn along. And there's just lots to this card. It's hilarious. I have to assume the reason this card is still banned is specifically because they don't want to try to fix it. They also don't want there to be cards that just cause draws, because it's so easy to accidentally draw with this card. No wonder it's been banned with all the ruling nightmares. Yeah, the rulings on this card are insane. Let's put this card in S tier for super good. Next up, we have Sumo Dice Game. Requires 2 level 6 monsters to go into. At the start of your opponent's battle phase, if this card is in the main monster zone, roll a 6-sided die, and move this card directly to that many 1 to 6 main monster zones clockwise. And if a monster is already in the zone it moves to, attach that monster to this card as a material. If this effect causes the monster's number of materials to exceed 6, you win the duel. This card cannot be moved, or the monster zone it moves to cannot be attached. Send this card to the graveyard. Why would it be able to move? Yeah, a Danny card? How can this be a Danny card if he doesn't actually like do the combos himself? Wasn't this in your top 10 worst win cons? Maybe, I don't remember. I'm trying to find a good way to explain how this card works because I don't really get it. As if we're judging creativity, but like, getting yourself to win this duel means you'd have to keep it on your opponent's side of the field and enter the battle phase, and then like make sure they don't link the monster away. Or you can skip their main phase so they're guaranteed to enter the battle phase, but they can just choose not to enter the battle phase. You'd have to like have a card that forces them to enter the battle phase too. So you'd have to find a way to give it to your opponent. It's basically musical chairs, but lands in the chair, 6 materials, you win. It jumps around the monster zones and sucks any monster zone slot. Those materials, whoever wins. No, I get how it works. I'm trying to think of a way to like win the duel with it. Because if you just give it to your opponent, like when it jumps to your opponent's side of the field, then they'll win the duel, you know, if it lands on one of their cards, because it belongs to them now. So what you'd have to do is find a way to give it to your opponent and then have it land on your side of the field. We saw the way to win. You give it materials, it just needs to pass the threshold to win. That's it? That's so easy. Remove brainwashing. What if it lands on a token? Then it can't do it. It says like, if it can't absorb it, then it just gets sent to the graveyard instead. Yeah, just apply its effect once above the threshold and you win. That's why we use that 6. whatever it's carved, manipulate the dice roll. I'm still trying to figure out how to like win with this card. I guess if you just don't give it to your opponent and just jump on top of one of your cards. But it only activates during your opponent's turn. Yeah, it has to use the effect in order to exceed 6 though. And it only activates during your opponent's battle phase. So if you give this to your opponent and then enter your battle phase, then it will trigger. Oh, okay, I think I get it. Because it technically belongs to your opponent, and then it jumps over to one of your cards and you use that 6 in order to manipulate the die roll to be either 1 or 6. Hopefully a 6. And then if you hit a 6, it'll go over to your side of the field, and as long as you get it before above a 6. I see. I think I get it now. I kept thinking of it using it like, you know, giving it to your opponent and then waiting for your opponent's turn. When you can just give it to your opponent and then you become the opponent and then it's your battle phase, which is your opponent's battle phase. And then you can just manually trigger the effect by entering your battle phase. And then you can also adjust the dice roll with that 6 to make sure that it's a 6 and it jumps to your side of the field. And then you just like count where it's going to jump to and you make sure it has enough materials before you give it to your opponent. And then if it jumps on one of your monsters, then you can win the duel. Amazing, I figured it out all on my own. Okay, it's D tier. Next card, we have number 88, Gimmick Puppet of Leo. Whoa. 3 level 8 monsters to summon. Once per turn, if you have no cards in your spell and trap card zone, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card, and if you do, place 1 destiny counter on this card. You cannot conduct your battle phase the turn you activate this effect. If 3 destiny counters are on this card, you win the duel. So, you can't control any spell traps, which means you can't just bring this card out and then floodgate. So it's so hard to keep this card in the field without spell traps. Like, you really need spell traps in order to floodgate in order to keep this card out. Will you ever try to win with musical sumo dice game? Of course I will. I'm a genius. Astral Karibo? Oh, it is a number monster. Astral Karibo's really good protection. So, is there like a way to control with only monsters and no spell traps? And getting this card out? Does the field spell count? Spell and trap card zone. I don't know, actually. I don't know if the field spell counts as being in your spell and trap card zone. I don't think it does. I think you might be able to use your field spell. Oh wait, what about the pendulum monsters? If you have no other cards, it says cards, so pendulums would not work either. I think you need a way to like protect it from the graveyard or something, like snow, and then get Astral Karibo to give it protection. There is ways to protect it from the graveyard. There is a card called Skill Prisoner, where if your opponent would target one of your monsters with a monster effect, you can banish it from the graveyard to negate that effect. And you can also use hand traps too to protect it. So there are ways to protect it. Look what my boy did. They didn't even call Destiny Leo. I hate you, Konami. Is he supposed to be Destiny Leo? You can use the effect that sets them like Wabaku and then activate Wabaku. Okay, I guess. But Wabaku is garbage. That's not how you win. It would be better to set like one of your floodgates. Oh, they did release a new normal trap floodgate. Oh, and it's 3 level 8 monsters. I wonder if you could do this in Lao. Bring it out with Labyrinth cards and then protect it with the Labyrinth floodgates. Nice intro, just put D in already. I'm trying to think like how you can make this card more useful. I don't know why I would put it in D tier when this is obviously a C tier card. It's better than all this other garbage. Next up, we have number C88, Gimmick Puppet Disaster Leo. Requires 4 level 9 monsters. Must be special summoned with a rank up magic spell card targeting number 88 Gimmick Puppet of Leo, and neither player can target this card on the field with card effects. Once per turn, you can detach 1 material from this card, inflict 1000 damage to your opponent. During your end phase, if your opponent's life points are 2000 or less and this card has no materials, you win the duel. Man, this card is so ass. You need to get your opponent's life points almost to 0. Get off your remove all of your materials. You can remove the materials. There's like a continuous trap card that allows you to detach materials from Machine XC's monster you control to destroy that many cards on the field. There are other ways to remove the materials, but you need to use other ways to remove the materials because its own effect sucks ass. We're gonna put this one in D tier. It's an upgraded version that sucks worse than the original. You'll win with the effect damage more often than the actual win condition. Yeah, I'm sure you can just win with the actual like effect damage instead. Look at anime affected Disaster Leo. Okay. I spelled Disaster Leo wrong. Okay. 4 level 9 monsters cannot be destroyed by battle except with a number monster. Whoa. This card is unaffected by other monster effects. Oh. If this card is XYZ summoned using a rank up number 88 Gimmick Puppet of Leo, it gains these effects. Once per turn, you can detach one material from this card, inflict 4,000 damage to your opponent. At the end of the turn, if this card has no materials, you win the duel. Damn, this is way better. Why is it nerfed so much? It was immune to monster effects, can't be destroyed by battle, burns for 4,000, and it just wins as long as you have no materials. There's no other conditions. Oh, yeah, this would be amazing. This would be an amazing card. That would be so good. We already put it in D tier though, because it's garbage. Next up, we have number IC 1000 Numeronius Numeronia. If this card is special summoned by the effect of number C1000 Numeronius, it gains 100,000 attack and defense during your opponent's turn only. Also, apply the following effects from the start of the next turn after this card was special summoned. Monsters your opponent controls must attack this card if able. At the end of your opponent's turn, if this card did not battle, you win the duel. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can detach one material from this card, negate the attack, and if you do, gain life points equal to the monster's attack. I forget. I think the other card is like a level 12 Xyz monster, a rank 12, that requires specific materials, and then its effect is if it's destroyed, it special summons this card. Let me look it up. Yeah, number C1000 Numeronius. Oh, 5 level 12 monster. Once per turn, quick effect, detach one material from this card, destroy one other monster on the field. At the end of the battle phase, destroy as many other monsters on the field as possible. Then special summon one monster from your opponent's graveyard to your field in defense position. Wait, is this the real version, or am I looking at the anime version? This is the real one. If this card you control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect while it has materials and sent to the graveyard, special summon one number IC 1000 Numeronius from your extra deck, and if you do, attach this card to it. There has to be a way to cheat this card out. This card is Silhouette, a numerous Chaos Ritual. If a face-up number C1 numerous Chaos Gate Sunya you control is destroyed by a monster effect this turn, you can target one of your Numeron networks and 4 of your number XYZ monsters that are banished around your graveyard. Special summon one number C1000 Numeronius from your extra deck. That becomes 10,000 attack and defense and 1,000 defense. And if you do, attach all 5 targets to his materials. Also, you can only normal special summon once through the rest of the turn. Okay, so this is how you bring the card out. Okay, Numeron. Wait, is number Numeronius Numeronia? Is Numeronius a Numeron monster? I know that sounds dumb, but I don't think it is. It's the final boss. So you use Numeron Network, and then on their next turn you use Numeron Chaos Ritual in order to bring out Numeronius, and then you use Numeronius if this card is destroyed by opponent's card effect while it has materials and sent to the graveyard. You can then special summon Numeronia. Then during your opponent's turn, as long as they don't destroy it and they can't attack, and you can block one attack because it has one material, then you can stop their attacks. And if they do attack, it has 100,000 attacks, so they'll probably lose if they do try to attack it. Sheesh, that's so convoluted. So anyways, through a whole bunch of steps, you can bring this card out, and it has 0 protection. So as long as you can floodgate your opponent during that one turn, you might be able to win with this card. As long as they also don't have like any like imperms or forbidden droplets, because it has no protection. They did some BS to bring Utopia above 100k to win by battle, but it also blocks an attack. Oh, I guess if its attack is blocked, I mean, they could just let it go through. According to Edo Pro, both C1000 and IC1000 are not Numeron cards. Yeah, I don't think they are, so you can't use Numeron Network in order to stop it. Damn, I want to build a deck with this. Let's put this in D tier, because it's absolute garbage. That is just way too much work to bring out. Okay, next up we have Phantasm Spiral Assault. So this card has the effect, target one Phantasm Spiral Dragon you control. When it destroys 3 effect monsters your opponent controls by battle, while equipped with 3 or more Phantasm Spiral equipped spells with different names, you win the duel. If Umi is on the field, you can activate this card from your hand. If a normal monster you control would be destroyed by other card effects, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. I mean, honestly, getting Phantasm Spiral Dragon with 3 equips is pretty easy. So it's real easy to get the 3 different equips onto your Phantasm Spiral Dragon. And it's real easy to search out Phantasm Spiral Dragon. And it's also easy for it to destroy cards by battle because it has 2,900 attack, and some of them increase their attack power. And you have pretty good control cards, and the deck itself can also control. The problem with this card specifically is that you can just win without it. So, like, you don't need it. But eventually you can win with this card. As a win con, it's kind of meh, but decent. Yeah, it's like, it's not a very good win con, but like, it's easier to use than a lot of the other ones, but not that easy because it still takes 3 turns. It's like FA winners. But like the Phantasm Spiral deck itself can really help facilitate this super easily. But then you still have to protect your Phantasm Spiral Dragon for 3 turns with its 3 equip spell. I'm just trying to think if it's C or D tier, basically. It's not good. I think I'm just gonna put it in D tier just because it's not very good. Like, at least these ones have some level of like consistency to it. This one is just, it takes 3 turns unless you give it extra attacks. And it has to destroy effect monsters specifically, which isn't hard, but like it still has to destroy monsters. Top of D tier at the very least. Sure, whatever. Next up, we have Relay Soul. Special summon a monster from your hand. If it leaves the field, you win the duel. I mean, your opponent wins the duel. So you give this card to your opponent with like an exchange or gift card. They set it to the field, and then you forcefully activate it with Bait Doll, and then destroy the monster it special summons, and you win the duel. Not very good. Next one, True Exodia. If the only monsters on the field if the only monsters on the field are this card you control and 4 Forbidden One normal monsters with different names your opponent controls with different names, your opponent wins the duel. So basically with this card, you can use Treasure Panda to get out the 4 pieces of Exodia real easily. And then what you'd have to do is give this card to your opponent and then destroy your Treasure Panda and you win. So it is possible to FTK with the card. You need all 5 in your opponent's field? No, it says 4. If the only monsters on their field are this card you control and 4 Forbidden One normal monsters your opponent controls different names, your opponent wins the duel. So you don't need the head of Exodia because this counts as the head of Exodia. So all you need is Treasure Panda to get out the 4 normal monster like limbs. Then need a way to special summon this to your opponent's side of the field. Or just give it to your opponent, which honestly is not that hard to do. I'm gonna put this one in C tier. Imagine Expulsion, getting this card out to win the duel. Next up, we have Venomi Naga, the deity of poisonous snakes. This card is incredibly difficult to bring out. You need to bring out Venominon, which is a level 8 snake monster, which can't be special summoned by monster effects. And it has to be destroyed by a card effect while you control Rise of the Snake Deity, which is a normal trap card. And then you special summon this card from your hand or deck, who is unaffected by card effects and also can't be targeted by your opponent's card effects. It's like a double whammy where it's immune and also cannot be targeted. It gains 500 attack for every reptile in your graveyard, and if it destroys a monster by battle and inflicts damage to your opponent, you gain 1 Hyper Venom counter, and if you have 3 Hyper Venom counters, you win the duel. So they nerfed the summon trap on purpose for no good reason. The summon trap? Wait, what summon trap? There is a new card that could set this up. And reptiles have snake rain? I guess reptiles have snake rain. This card is so ass. There is a new card that makes this a lot easier to use. It's called like Trap Tricks or Trap Tracks. Trap Tricks Traps or something. Basically, it's a trap card which has the effect where you destroy one monster you control. Then you set a normal trap from your deck and it can be activated this turn. Which, if you use it on Venominon, allows you to trigger the effect of Rise of the Snake Deity that you set from your deck. And then you can bring out Venominon, the deity of poisonous snakes. Either way, it's less likely to win because of the big body than through the effect. I don't know, it has a big body because like, kind of hard to use. Oh, I should have tried playing this deck back when the Shizus were still like, not super limited. Anyway, D tier. I don't know why we're trying to pretend. And then last card on this list, we have Victory Dragon. So the way this is an instant win card is because it wins the next duel without even having to play it. So it cannot be special summoned. You must tribute summon this card by tributing 3 dragon type monsters. And if this card attacks your opponent directly and reduces their life points to 0, you win the match. So if you bring this card out on your first turn, you'll win the next turn too. So it's an instant win of the next turn. You guys are all saying F. But this is actually pretty good, specifically because modern Yu-Gi-Oh is balanced around best of 3. And it is possible to steal a win in your first game, stall out with just overwhelming card advantage, and then control the game where you just attack with Victory Dragon so your opponent doesn't get a chance to side deck and battle you. I would put this card in B tier next to Exodia. Best of 3 to best of 1. Yeah, it turns a best of 3 format into best of 1. It is actually pretty good, but it's still not good because these cards all suck. Surrender on attack declaration, literally impossible to pull off. In the OCG, you're not allowed to surrender. We're not OCG? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know we were stuck to TCG only. My bad. I'm an idiot. I'm the stupidest moronist person ever. You're right, because we don't have Halactite either. Yeah, we play Master Duel. Okay, well, this is the list. So we have more cards in S tier than I was expecting. I still don't think last tier is an S tier card, but it's better than all the other garbage. I guess comparatively, this is fine. Man, look at all of these garbage cards in D tier. That's a majority of the instant win cards in the game.